it's tough to watch as a Yankee fan, right? With the report about about maybe the Yankees are leaning toward Aaron Boone returning as Yankee manager after the story that came out yesterday with Buster Olney saying that if Aaron Boone is not brought back, that the San Diego Padres could be an option for Aaron Boone should he not be brought back as Yankee manager after they get rid of their manager after they collapsed in the second half, right? So you're watching last night, and the Yankees were never going to beat the Tampa Bay Rays in the divisional series. You'd like the challenge, but after what we witnessed in the regular season, the Yankees were never going to beat the Tampa Bay Rays, and there are the Boston Red Sox last night up at Fenway Park dancing on the Rays' grave, blowing a 5-0 lead, getting the big hit by Kiki Hernandez to say they score the game-winning run, walk-off victory for Boston, back-to-back walk-off victories for the Boston Red Sox. The previous game was Christian Vasquez hitting one over the Green Monster after, the call that went against the Rays with the ground rule double met on second and third instead of a run scoring in Diaz. And you say to yourself, the Boston Red Sox and Alex Cora are in the American League Championship Series, awaiting the winner of the White Sox-Astros series. And we here in New York for the Yankees, we're trying to delineate what exactly is the game plan here moving forward. What do the Yankees right now deem as a successful season?
Right.
Is it winning a World Series? Is it making it to the playoffs? Is it all about playoff revenue, right? Everyone and the Yankees and, management during the regular season giving Aaron Boone votes of confidence. Where we are judging this roster, how to get this team to a championship level. You have a Red Sox team that brings back Alex Cora after a year away, trades Mookie Betts, one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball, to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Boston Red Sox once again are back in the ALCS as the Yankees continue to have meetings about whether or not to bring Aaron Boone back. Here is where you are as a Yankee fan. Does it need to say any bit more? Where you look at Chaim Bloom, where you look at Alex Cora, you look at the pieces that they added up to that Red Sox team, Maggie. You're seeing former Yankees being successful for Boston right now. It is so infuriating to watch. We bet the Rays yesterday. I couldn't have been a bigger Tampa Bay Rays fan last night. We're having the discussion. Who do you rather root for, the Red Sox or the Astros, if that ends up being in the ALCS? I had a long night last night after the Red Sox eliminated the Tampa Bay Rays.
Moose, this is the biggest indictment on Cashman and Boone to date. This is the biggest indictment. Having the Boston Red Sox this year make it to the ALCS. It is an indictment on Cashman that the Boston Red Sox are more flexible, they are deeper, they are getting way more out of every piece of their roster than the Yankees do, and it is an indictment on Aaron Boone, who I have been a defender of both of these guys, and it is impossible to defend them now watching the Boston Red Sox make it this far. These are two teams, Moose, not like the Rays that were 100-win team, or the Astros 95-win team, and they were having all this success. You were right there with the Boston Red Sox at the end of the season. Hell, you were a Vegas favorite in that game on the road for the wild card. You lost 6-2. You were right there with the Boston Red Sox. And look at where they are now. There is never a time when I look at Aaron Boone going into a playoff series, whether it's one game or best of 5 or best of 7, and say, man, the Yankees have the real tactical advantage here with Aaron Boone in the dugout. Great guy, great communicator, has been able to, be the face of this team during good times and bad. But there's never a time when I say, man, he's their ace in the hole. That's what Alex Cora is for the Boston Red Sox. He makes them believe. And obviously, Aaron Boone as a tactician is just a guy when Alex Cora is a freaking superstar. This right here, not any of the decisions that were made previously. This Boston Red Sox team is the indictment on Cashman and Boone. If I'm Hal Steinbrenner, I'm wondering, what don't I give you? You have every resource available to you. You mentioned it. Chaim Bloom gets hired from the Tampa Bay Rays. The first order of business is, can you please trade away our best player?
Right, because he doesn't want to take the $200+ million offer they were offering.
Because he's getting $400 million in LA. Okay, that's your first order of business, is get rid of our best player. The first order of business for Brian Cashman is probably re-sign Aaron Judge. No one's telling you to get rid of anybody. They're telling you, they should be telling him that you should be signing Aaron Judge. You should go out and get Garrett Cole. If I'm Hal Steinbrenner, I'm like, you have every resource. You have every resource available to you.
Right.
Why are the Boston Red Sox back in the ALCS?
Yeah, well, you know what? They're better at baseball than what the Yankees are. That's why. Because
they closed the gap?
Well, yeah, they've more than closed the gap. I mean, they've gapped the Yankees. They
lapped them.
There's no question. And it's so frustrating to watch. And give the Red Sox credit. Give every one of those players credit, right? Give the fact that, they've got gamers on that team. They've got guys that have got playoff experience. They stuck with a guy like Dahlbeck at first base. He finally turned a corner in the second half after he was struggling in half number one. You look at the management of Cora having that emotional moment with his daughter after the game last night and saying, I felt so bad of what I put my family through by the decisions that I made in the past and what it cost them and what they had to deal with. So, and it was a poignant, emotional moment. And Cora, he was beloved up there when he was let go, when he had to step down after the cheating scandal was uncovered in 2018, Maggie, because people were weeping in the Red Sox management in their front office.
I get why.
Cora's a difference maker.
Well.
And that's it. I mean, that's the biggest, you're right, about the indictment on Boone, the indictment on Cashman is this. We joked around about it yesterday. There were no bigger fans of the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday than the Yankees. Because they continue to have Rays envy. They continue to chase Tampa. Well, now they're chasing the Boston Red Sox again because the Red Sox are back. They are absolutely back. And Cora gives them a tactical advantage.
Yep.
They bring in a Ray executive and Chaim Bloom to run their front office. You think the Boston Red Sox are going anywhere? They're not going anywhere. They're just going to get better here moving forward. The Yankees want to tell you how smart they are as a franchise. Well, tell me about the process is one thing. Show me the results. Because it's one thing when you look at Tampa. Tampa's all about the process. The results follow. The Red Sox, back all about the process. The results quickly follow. You look at the Yankees, the results are precipitously getting worse here when you're looking at what they do in October.
How about this for Alex Cora? And in an era when we can't wait to just tell you how little the manager means. But whether as a bench coach or as the manager of a team, he's been in 8 playoff series. And won them all. As either a bench coach or the manager. Say what you want about the Astros cheating, whatever. I mean, there was a moment yesterday when Kike Hernandez, first of all, you knew he was winning the game right there, right? Knew it was going to happen in the 9th inning. But he's saying, as he was interviewed afterwards, Moose, that because of the decisions that were made before his at-bat, he felt the pressure draining away. He said he felt like he was being put in a situation, bottom of the 9th inning, in a clinching game to go to the ALCS. He said he could feel the pressure easing as the inning went on, and his decisive at-bat grew near because of the bunt, the pinch hit, the pinch run. When's the last time the Yankees did all 3 of those in a half inning? I mean, just everything about last night. It was like enough's enough, because it's not like the Yankees are sitting here with 2 hands tied behind their back, right? It's not like the Red Sox, haven't dealt with injuries this year. Hell, JD Martinez is dealing with an ankle injury right now. They didn't have their ace for most of the year, Chris Sale, and he's not even the guy who got them home. They're relying on guys like Nick Pivetta and going to Garrett Whitlock, former Yankee, Nathan Eovaldi, former Yankee, as you mentioned, and former Yankees doing it is just the insult to injury. There's just nothing about what the Red Sox are doing that you can look and say, well, there's no way the Yankees could do that. Why? Why isn't there any way the Yankees can't be what the Red Sox are? You want to have Rays envy? They're on a different level. The Red Sox are right there with you, and they look like they are just speeding out of the gate. And just now they're in the ALCS, a team we thought was still rebuilding.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought about last night, they're also doing it with a guy that the Yankees have loved for years, and Kyle Schwarber, who they acquired at the MLB trade deadline as well from the Washington Nationals, a guy that the Yankees tried to get in that original Aroldis Chapman deal with the Chicago Cubs, and then executive Theo Epstein with Chicago wouldn't give him up because they talked about his leadership. And now you look at what Schwarber is as a hitter and what he has represented and playing even a little first base as he did last night for the Boston Red Sox.
How about the depth? Because you're looking at an inning, the decisive, end of the game situation for the Boston Red Sox where Christian Arroyo, Travis Shaw, Danny Santana. I mean, this is not like your top of your 26. I know Kike Hernandez was a huge part of their season, of course.
But there is a belief that they're going to get it done.
There's a depth, a belief, all of it.
And that's where, Maggie, you want to say trust, right? The Yankees don't trust Boone. Cora has this trust, can run that franchise or run it, use the analytics properly. Boone is basically being, told, and we know. I mean, Boone is in charge of the lineups, but Boone is handed basically a lineup every single day from the analytics department saying that this is the way that you should approach the lineup today. Right. I mean, so there's a lot of people that are coming into play about how you should handle certain situations. So is it a lack of trust in Boone, or are the Yankees, is it the personality of Cora as compared to the personality of Boone? Because there is no doubt, Cora is a antagonist. Mm-hmm. Cora is a guy that if he's managing your team, you love him. If you're mad at if you're a fan of a team, you're going up against him, you can't stand him.
Of course.
And that is what makes Cora. And they play with an edge. They play with an aggressiveness. They take on the personality of their manager. It changed this year with the Boston Red Sox. There is a belief, there's an arrogance and a confidence with Alex Cora that there not necessarily is there come playoff time when you look at Aaron Boone, even with all the success they've had. And why? You mentioned it. I mean, Alex Cora, he's been either a manager or a bench coach, has never lost a playoff series. Think about that. I mean, you'd have to have the utmost confidence if you're Cora right now. It is so infuriating to watch that last night, Maggie, as a Yankee fan, them celebrating up at Fenway Park and the Red Sox going on to the ALCS.
You use all these cliches, we all do, about managers because, it's kind of lends itself to those kinds of things, taking on the personality of the manager and all that, and we all use them. And it was Garrett Whitlock who gave the quote after the game when it said, I'd be willing to run through a brick wall for him, which is obviously the cliche. The twist on it is that if he asked me to run through a brick wall, meaning Cora, if he asked me to run through a brick wall, I would think there's something he knows about why that brick wall is going to fall. The why. The why are we doing this? The what? All of those things that when you get to the professional level, these athletes need the answers to those questions in order to believe in you.
That quote says it all.
Right?
No,
I thought that
it
was
all.
huge.
It's a great quote. It really is. It says it all about the trust.
It's not blind faith.
No, he explains why you need to do this to be successful, and then when you're successful at doing it, you give him credit.
Look at that.
Everything works in hand. I mean, that's it. And now you're dealing with the Yankees who still have yet to make a decision on Boone.
Yeah. Do you think that Padres thing is real?
No. No. I don't.
Boone's got good qualities. Listen, he can manage egos maybe,
right.
Like how Joe Torre was really good at that. You got some issues, I think, of that in San Diego where you had, Manny Machado and Tatis, and Machado had to tell him, it's all about you, or it's not all about you.
It's not about you.
Right,
it's about the team. Right.
Right. So maybe Boone would be good for that kind of
Maybe it would be
clubhouse.
good, but do I really believe? I mean, I think Boone could manage in baseball. I think he'd probably get another opportunity, but I don't think it's a case of, like this is, he is no longer the Yankee manager, and then 2 days later he's being ushered in as the new Padres manager.
I wasn't sure. It looked like a little bit of a leverage play, which is this, from my eyes, which is surprising. Because I thought this is done deal. If someone's putting the Padres in there to try to show that, hey, look, there's interest here in Aaron Boone. Like, it's not just Yankees or nothing for this guy. He's got other options. If indeed that's the play, and a little skeptical, if that's the play, then that means maybe this thing isn't as wrapped up as I thought it was.
Yeah, I feel the same way that I did last week when as this continues to go on, the longer it goes on, the more I believe Boone's coming back.
I know, but see, the Padres thing was the one thing that I was like,
I just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Did you?
I thought it looked like somebody on Boone's behalf trying to put the vibe out there, saying, hey, listen, it's not just Yankees or bust for this guy. We've got,
yes,
we've got options over here. And really, the only two open jobs are that and the Mets, and you can't use the Mets as well.
Buck wants the Mets job. Edison, New Jersey. It's Dave. What's going on, Dave?
Good morning. Thanks for taking the call. I just don't understand how a team could spend 60, 80 million and crush a team that's spending 200, 240 million year after year, and they don't change anything. They play great defense. They have good pitching. They are incredible, running the bases and making sure they don't get thrown out. Why is it so much arrogance on the Yankees' part? I mean, they see the Dodgers are using the Tampa Bay system. The Red Sox have got Chaim Bloom up there. They're going to use the system. They just apply more money to the same system. Why can't the Yankees do that?
Yeah, but this is not some cheat code. like on a video game. Like it's
point.
not exactly like the Tampa Bay Rays. Everyone's got the same stats.
Yeah.
It's
Same
how
data.
it's how you incorporate it. How do you incorporate it? How do you use it? Is it part of the process or is it the entire process? Like that's really what it comes down to. It because there's no analytic that the Tampa Bay Rays have that nobody else has in Major League Baseball, or the Dodgers have, or now the Boston Red Sox have. I mean, they all have the same stuff in analyzing these players, Maggie.
Yeah.
It's just that a lot of organizations use that analytics, use that data a lot better to their advantage as compared to, say, the Yankees. And not saying that the Yankees haven't won games in the regular season. They have. But we're talking about trying to win in October.
How about Brian? He's in Stanford. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hey, guys. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on, what you were talking about with the Yankees. I'm a diehard fan, and I honestly, I just don't understand when it comes down to it what Boone, what Cashman see that they don't realize they're doing the opposite of what they should be doing. I just feel like it's basic baseball. I mean, to win, you need to score. To get on base, you need to make contact, and you need to have speed and play defense. And it's like they just ignore all these things. And I just feel like the combination of Hal Steinbrenner, Brian Cashman, and Aaron Boone is the most idiotic combination that we have in baseball, and it's a joke. And this is nothing like the team that I've grown up loving and being a diehard fan of.
Well, listen, I mean, they have had regular season success. They've been a playoff team. But look at what the Red Sox did and have done this year when they're coming off of an abject, awful season, right? And they are a team that you were right there with at the end. I mean, identical records, right? Identical. And for all we can say about the Red Sox, and they got off to this great start, the season series for the Yankees and Red Sox, 10-9. It wasn't like it was this big whitewash, You were right there with them. They have the advantage, and now they've gone on. And I'll 100% agree with Moose. The Yankees would have went into that series with Tampa. No chance. No chance.
Lost.
And look at what Boston just did. And coming off of a 13-inning game, exhausting bullpens, right? To come back and win the next day? I mean, we thought the Rays were the ones with the pitching depth, and it turns out it was the Boston Red Sox who managed their way into the ALCS even more than the Rays.
Well, and think about it, they have an early 5-0 lead. They blow a 5-0 lead, and they still win the game.
They've had to come from behind in almost every game.
I mean, it's just
they've got
whatever
something
they do
that the Yankees
they do.
don't.
You're no doubt. And you take a look. Here's the other thing. You take a look at their regulars in their lineup, Maggie. The lowest batting average in their lineup this year was 240.
Well,
Marlon Gonzalez, who played 77 games this year, hit 202. I mean, it's just you look. We're talking about the Yankees and trying to envision when we're looking at whether it be Gary Sanchez, whether it be Joey Gallo, guys that are hitting under 200 at times. Like it's just when you look at it, it's so frustrating. I can't believe the Boston Red Sox are 4 victories away from getting to the World Series.
what is up with and that's not just that's baseball, Susan. No. This is something that they feel comfortable operating this way, and that the players have a belief. I'm not saying that the players for the Yankees don't like playing for Aaron Boone. That's not what I'm saying at all. They might really like playing for Aaron Boone. Hell, I'd like playing for Aaron Boone.
Does he get
seems
the best out of
very
them?
decent. The tactical advantage that Alex Cora appears to be giving the Red Sox. Can you say the same about your manager? And if not, why?